Imagine working tirelessly day and night, giving your all to achieve something that seems just out of reach. Now imagine watching someone else, someone you love, receive the opportunities you've longed for, while you're left to figure it out on your own. That was my reality. I faced doubt, silence, and obstacles that could have easily broken me. But somewhere between the quiet frustration and the late nights of relentless effort, something remarkable happened. Today, I stand before you not just as someone who overcame challenges, but as proof that perseverance, discipline, and belief in yourself can turn even the deepest setbacks into triumphs. This is the story of how I was overlooked, underestimated, and undersupported, and how all of that changed the moment my name was called as valedictorian. So, I invite you to stay with me through this journey, because what I learned along the way isn't just about grades or recognition, it's about courage, resilience, and the power of refusing to let circumstances define your worth. The first keynote, feeling overlooked and underappreciated compared to a sibling, is a deeply personal and complex emotion that can shape a person's identity and drive from a young age. Growing up in a household where attention, praise, and resources are distributed unevenly can create a persistent sense of invisibility. When one sibling seems to effortlessly capture approval, whether through achievements, personality, or perceived potential, the other sibling can feel their own accomplishments are diminished or ignored. This feeling is not necessarily about a lack of love from parents, but rather the uneven ways in which acknowledgement is expressed, leaving the other child to wrestle with self-worth issues. Overlooked children often develop a heightened awareness of comparisons, constantly measuring themselves against a sibling who appears favored. Everyday moments like compliments, small rewards, or parental encouragement become magnified in their significance. When a sibling's successes are celebrated with more fanfare or investment, it can create a subtle but persistent message that the overlooked sibling's efforts are less valuable or less promising. These feelings are compounded when material or practical advantages, like financial support for education or extracurricular opportunities, are given selectively. The disparity can feel like a statement of preference or favoritism, reinforcing the perception that one's talents, efforts, and potential are not recognized or valued as highly. This experience often fosters a mixture of emotions, resentment, sadness, and sometimes guilt, as the overlooked sibling may feel selfish for wanting equal recognition. It also cultivates a quiet determination or internal pressure to prove oneself outside the family's direct acknowledgement. Being overlooked can create a sense of invisibility that affects self-esteem, relationships, and confidence. Children in this position may internalize the idea that their worth is contingent on surpassing expectations or achieving something extraordinary to demand recognition. Over time, this feeling of being underappreciated can fuel a deep motivation to excel, sometimes in secret or outside of the family sphere, where the validation comes from personal accomplishment or external acknowledgement rather than parental praise. It can also shape personality traits such as independence, resilience, and strategic thinking. As the individual learns to navigate a world where their efforts are not automatically celebrated, learning to rely on inner drive rather than external reinforcement. This underlying sense of being overlooked is subtle yet powerful, influencing life choices, ambitions, and the emotional texture of achievements. The second keynote, observing a sibling receive full support for college while you get none, carries a mix of confusion, frustration, and a quiet sense of injustice that can linger for years. From the outside, it might appear that your family has limitless resources and love to give, yet somehow the allocation of opportunities seems skewed in favor of one child. Watching a sibling receive full financial backing, from tuition to living expenses, creates a stark contrast when you are left to navigate the same path with little or no assistance. Every moment of observation reinforces the disparity, seeing them choose courses freely, participate in enriching extracurricular activities, or attend social events without financial worry, while you must weigh every decision against strict budget constraints, scholarship applications, or part-time work. This creates an emotional burden beyond the practical challenges of funding your education. The situation can evoke feelings of resentment and abandonment, as though your own dreams are considered less worthy or your potential less promising. There is a subtle psychological weight in witnessing the ease with which someone else's journey is supported, especially when you are expected to perform at a similar level or even exceed expectations. The contrast is sharpened by societal pressures and personal comparisons, where achievements are often measured in tangible opportunities and resources. Observing this inequity can also fuel self-reflection and internal questioning. Why is one sibling favored? Is it merit, personality, or parental preference? These questions rarely have clear answers, leaving a sense of ambiguity that intensifies the emotional impact. At the same time, this experience can cultivate resilience, resourcefulness, and independence, as you are forced to find ways to pursue education without the safety net that others enjoy. Every scholarship application, extra job, or long night of studying becomes not only a practical necessity, but a statement of determination and self-reliance. The process sharpens your sense of ambition, teaching you to value accomplishments for your own sake and to develop skills in planning, negotiation, and perseverance. Observing your siblings' support while lacking it yourself becomes a silent motivator, a reminder of the gap to overcome and an unspoken challenge to prove that your abilities and dedication are no less worthy of recognition or success. This experience embeds itself into the psyche, influencing how you approach challenges, measure your progress, and define personal victories, creating a foundation for future triumphs that are hard-won and deeply satisfying. The third keynote, struggling with self-doubt and resentment, is a deeply intertwined emotional experience that shapes both behavior and internal dialogue over time. When someone feels overlooked or unequal in support compared to a sibling, it naturally fosters questions about their own worth and abilities. Self-doubt emerges as a persistent companion, whispering that perhaps you are not as capable, deserving, or talented, especially when external recognition is scarce. Every setback, no matter how minor, is amplified in the mind, reinforcing the narrative that your efforts are insufficient or unnoticed. This self-doubt is not just about academics or achievements but seeps into personal identity, affecting confidence in social interactions, decision-making, and even long-term aspirations. It creates a subtle anxiety that lingers in everyday life, often leading to overcompensation or hesitation, as you feel the pressure to prove yourself in ways that others around you do not. Alongside self-doubt, resentment quietly builds, directed at the perceived unfairness of circumstances. Watching a sibling receive support and opportunities that you must fight for can generate anger, envy, or bitterness, even if you consciously try to suppress it. This resentment is complex because it coexists with love and familial loyalty, creating internal conflict. You may feel guilty for harboring negative emotions towards someone you care about, but at the same time, the sense of injustice cannot easily be dismissed. The struggle between self-doubt and resentment is further complicated by societal expectations, where comparisons are constant and subtle favoritism becomes magnified. You begin to measure success not only against personal goals, but against the ease with which others achieve theirs, which can intensify feelings of inadequacy. Over time, this emotional tension can become a powerful motivator, transforming negative energy into determination to succeed despite obstacles. The combination of self-doubt and resentment sharpens focus, discipline, and resilience, as you learn to rely on your own resources and inner conviction rather than external validation. It also cultivates empathy and emotional intelligence, as you become aware of the nuanced ways privilege, attention, and opportunity influence people's lives. The internal struggle is ongoing, shaping not just how you pursue goals but how you perceive fairness, effort, and recognition in the broader world, ultimately preparing you for the moment when your perseverance and achievements will speak louder than any doubt or resentment that once weighed you down. The fourth keynote, experiencing the frustration of financial barriers, is a defining challenge that colors every aspect of pursuing education and personal growth when resources are limited. Financial limitations create an immediate and tangible obstacle, forcing you to confront the reality that opportunities available to others are not as easily accessible to you. Unlike talent or determination, money is a fixed external factor that cannot be altered through sheer will alone, which makes the struggle feel both unfair and relentless. Everyday decisions, from choosing courses and extracurricular activities to managing living expenses and transportation, become exercises in careful calculation and compromise, each choice carrying consequences that those with financial support rarely need to consider. The weight of these decisions creates a constant tension, a balancing act between ambition and practicality, where every step toward success must be measured against the cost it imposes. This frustration is compounded by the psychological impact of watching peers, and even siblings, advance with fewer obstacles, their paths smoothed by parental support or scholarships that feel just out of reach. It fosters a sense of urgency, pressure, and sometimes quiet envy, as you recognize that the same level of effort yields different results depending on external circumstances. Financial barriers can also affect self-esteem and social dynamics, as the inability to participate in certain opportunities or experiences may create feelings of exclusion or inadequacy. The struggle to fund your education often demands creative solutions, working multiple jobs, applying for numerous scholarships, negotiating loans, or seeking alternative pathways to achieve goals, which requires resilience, persistence, and meticulous planning. Each step forward becomes a hard-won victory, and the process itself cultivates a profound sense of independence and resourcefulness. At the same time, frustration may manifest in moments of doubt or fatigue, questioning whether the effort is worth the sacrifice and whether success is attainable on these terms. This internal dialogue is a constant companion, shaping motivation, decision-making, and emotional endurance. Yet within this struggle lies the potential for growth, as navigating financial barriers teaches practical life skills, strategic thinking, and the ability to persevere despite inequities. The experience sharpens determination, turning obstacles into opportunities to demonstrate capability and commitment, and builds an appreciation for the value of self-sufficiency. The frustration of financial limitations, while challenging and sometimes disheartening, ultimately becomes a crucible through which resilience, discipline, and a profound sense of achievement are forged, preparing the individual to seize recognition and success on their own terms. The fifth keynote, keeping quiet about your dreams to avoid conflict, reflects a delicate balance between ambition and self-preservation, a choice shaped by fear, caution, and observation of family dynamics. When resources, attention, or support appear limited or unevenly distributed, expressing your aspirations openly can feel risky, as if speaking up might invite criticism, dismissal, or comparisons that amplify tension. Choosing silence is not an absence of hope or determination, but a strategic way to protect yourself emotionally while continuing to pursue your goals. It requires constant self-restraint, a conscious decision to internalize desires that might otherwise be celebrated or encouraged, and to find ways to nurture them privately. This quiet cultivation of ambition often involves planning meticulously, setting personal milestones, and dedicating effort in ways that go unnoticed by others, all while maintaining the outward appearance of compliance or contentment. The act of keeping dreams private can also intensify the emotional weight of success, as achievements become deeply personal victories rather than performances validated immediately by external recognition. At the same time, silence can breed loneliness or isolation, because sharing goals with others often provides encouragement, collaboration, and perspective that are temporarily forgone. Suppressing the urge to speak about your ambitions may stem from observing patterns of favoritism or disparity within the family, where openly expressing desires could trigger judgment or resentment, intentionally or unintentionally. The restraint required to keep dreams hidden cultivates a unique form of self-discipline and self-reliance, teaching you to rely on your own motivation rather than external approval. It also sharpens awareness of timing and context, as you learn when to reveal accomplishments or when to allow progress to speak for itself. The emotional tension created by this silence is complex, blending hope, frustration, and anticipation. Yet it fuels a quiet determination to achieve on your own terms. Over time, this approach transforms ambition into a disciplined, focused pursuit, as each secret effort becomes a step toward an inevitable moment of recognition that cannot be ignored. Keeping dreams private becomes both a shield and a tool, protecting the individual from judgment while creating the conditions for a powerful revelation when success finally arrives. The experience teaches patience, strategic thinking, and the understanding that true validation often comes from the culmination of effort and excellence, rather than from constant affirmation. In this way, the choice to remain silent about your dreams strengthens character, sharpens focus, and lays the groundwork for a triumph that is both personal and undeniable, where achievement itself becomes the ultimate statement of worth. The sixth keynote, Witnessing a sibling's success and feeling invisible is an emotionally charged experience that often intertwines admiration, frustration, and a profound sense of being overlooked. Watching someone close to you achieve milestones, earn recognition, or receive support can trigger mixed emotions, especially when your own efforts seem unnoticed or undervalued. There is a complex tension in this dynamic. Part of you may genuinely feel proud and happy for your sibling, acknowledging their talents and accomplishments, while another part wrestles with the sting of invisibility and the longing to be equally recognized. This feeling is compounded when external acknowledgement from parents, teachers, or peers appears concentrated on the sibling, reinforcing the perception that your achievements or contributions carry less weight. The invisibility is not always blatant, it can be subtle, a lack of praise, minimal attention to your hard work, or assumptions that your success will come naturally or is less significant. Such patterns can intensify self-reflection, causing you to question your value, capabilities, or whether your efforts are truly worthwhile. Over time, the experience of being unseen cultivates a heightened awareness of disparities in attention, reward, and opportunity, sharpening sensitivity to social and familial dynamics. The invisible sibling often develops a form of quiet resilience, learning to measure success not solely by external validation but by personal standards, internal satisfaction, or private benchmarks. Witnessing another's success while feeling invisible can also trigger determination and resolve, turning the frustration into motivation to surpass expectations and achieve recognition in ways that cannot be ignored. This process can involve long hours of study, meticulous planning, and disciplined effort, often carried out discreetly to avoid conflict or unwanted comparisons. At the same time, it may foster emotional complexity, including feelings of envy, sadness, and occasional self-doubt, all of which coexist with a drive to succeed. Being invisible in the shadow of someone else's achievements creates a powerful internal dialogue, emphasizing perseverance, patience, and strategic timing for when your own accomplishments will be revealed. The experience teaches emotional intelligence, as you learn to navigate delicate relationships and manage feelings of inadequacy without letting them dominate your actions. Ultimately, witnessing a sibling's success while feeling invisible becomes a crucible for resilience, fostering a determination to excel quietly, to invest in your own growth, and to prepare for a moment where your capabilities, achievements, and efforts demand recognition, transforming years of overlooked effort into undeniable success. The seventh keynote, channeling feelings of jealousy into motivation, is a transformative emotional process that turns an initially painful experience into a powerful driving force. Jealousy, when felt towards someone who appears to have advantages, recognition, or opportunities that you do not, is often viewed as a negative emotion, one that can breed resentment or self-doubt. However, when consciously redirected, it can become a catalyst for personal growth and achievement. The process begins with acknowledging the emotion without judgment, recognizing that the intensity of jealousy reflects both desire and awareness of your own untapped potential. Rather than allowing it to fester into bitterness or passive resignation, you use it as a mirror to understand what you truly want, clarifying your ambitions and the standards you wish to meet or exceed. This redirection requires self-discipline and emotional intelligence, as it involves choosing action over complaint, effort over envy, and strategy over reaction. The energy that might otherwise be spent comparing yourself negatively to another person is transformed into focus, determination, and concrete goals. Jealousy becomes an internal motivator, pushing you to develop skills, seek opportunities, and dedicate time to areas where you can excel. It sharpens competitive instincts, but in a controlled way, emphasizing personal progress rather than destructive rivalry. The emotional tension inherent in jealousy fuels resilience, encouraging persistence in the face of obstacles or lack of support. It teaches patience and the importance of long-term planning, as immediate recognition may not come, but consistent effort eventually produces measurable results. Over time, this approach cultivates a sense of empowerment, because you are actively taking control of your trajectory rather than passively reacting to others' advantages. The process also develops strategic thinking, as you learn to identify gaps in your own abilities or resources and work deliberately to close them, transforming feelings of inadequacy into actionable steps. By channeling jealousy into motivation, you shift the narrative from one of perceived injustice to one of personal agency, using emotional discomfort as fuel for achievement. It fosters confidence, discipline, and a quiet sense of satisfaction as progress is made, not just in comparison to others, but in your own measurable growth. Ultimately, this transformation demonstrates the power of reframing negative emotions, showing how even painful experiences like envy can be harnessed to propel someone toward excellence and eventual recognition that validates their effort and perseverance. The eighth keynote, determining to prove your worth academically, reflects a conscious decision to channel ambition, frustration, and personal drive into measurable achievement within the educational sphere. When someone feels overlooked or unsupported, especially compared to a sibling, the desire to demonstrate capability often becomes a defining motivation. Proving your worth academically is not merely about grades or accolades, it is about establishing a visible record of diligence, intelligence, and perseverance that cannot be ignored. This determination begins with setting high personal standards, understanding that success will require consistent effort, discipline, and sacrifices that others may not need to make. It involves recognizing the areas where you can excel, identifying weaknesses to improve, and strategically focusing energy on tasks that yield meaningful results. Every assignment, test, and project becomes an opportunity to reinforce your commitment to excellence and to demonstrate that external circumstances, such as lack of financial support or recognition, do not define your potential. This determination also carries an emotional component. It is fueled by a desire for validation, not from immediate praise, but from a deeper sense of self-worth and the anticipation of eventual acknowledgement. Along the way, you develop resilience and adaptability, learning to navigate challenges and setbacks without losing sight of the larger goal. Academic focus becomes a structured outlet for the complex emotions of frustration, envy, or doubt, converting them into measurable outcomes that serve as evidence of your capabilities. The process requires meticulous planning, time management, and sustained concentration, as proving worth in a tangible way demands consistent effort over extended periods. It also encourages self-reflection, as you continuously evaluate progress and adjust strategies to optimize performance. Determining to prove your worth academically teaches patience, perseverance, and the importance of strategic thinking, as recognition often arrives only after a cumulative body of work demonstrates excellence. Over time, this focus can redefine how you see yourself and how others perceive you, shifting the narrative from one of neglect or invisibility to one of undeniable achievement. Academic success becomes both a personal triumph and a subtle form of vindication, a demonstration that capability and dedication cannot be dismissed or overlooked. The drive to prove worth academically transforms internalized frustration into structured accomplishment, creating a path where effort, intelligence, and persistence converge to create recognition that is both deserved and impactful, ultimately reshaping the perception of your abilities and reinforcing self-confidence in the process. The ninth keynote, staying disciplined despite lack of parental financial support, represents a critical stage in the development of resilience, self-reliance, and long-term focus. When external resources are limited or withheld, maintaining discipline requires an extraordinary degree of personal motivation, as the safety net that eases pressure for many students is absent. Discipline in this context is not simply about adhering to routines or completing tasks, it is about consistently prioritizing goals over immediate comfort, social distractions, or emotional discouragement. Without financial backing, every choice carries weight, and discipline becomes the mechanism that ensures steady progress despite obstacles. This often involves balancing multiple responsibilities, such as part-time or full-time jobs, alongside rigorous academic commitments, and making sacrifices in social, recreational, or personal areas to preserve focus on essential objectives. Maintaining discipline under these conditions strengthens character, as it requires sustained effort without immediate reinforcement or recognition from parents or authority figures. It cultivates self-management skills, including meticulous time planning, budgeting, and setting achievable yet challenging milestones. The absence of financial support also reinforces the importance of delayed gratification, teaching the value of working steadily toward long-term goals even when short-term rewards are scarce or non-existent. Emotional discipline is equally critical, as it entails resisting feelings of frustration, discouragement, or envy when observing peers or siblings who have fewer constraints and more opportunities. The process transforms external limitations into internal strength, as every task completed under these conditions becomes a testament to perseverance and self-sufficiency. Over time, this disciplined approach reinforces confidence, proving that personal effort and strategic planning can overcome systemic or circumstantial disadvantages. It also fosters adaptability, problem-solving, and resourcefulness, as challenges frequently demand creative solutions that would not be necessary in a more privileged environment. Discipline in the absence of parental support becomes a daily exercise in resilience, teaching the individual to take ownership of their journey, hold themselves accountable, and maintain unwavering focus despite setbacks or distractions. The experience cultivates a mindset where success is defined less by external validation or material assistance and more by consistent action, mastery of one's own time and energy, and the ability to achieve meaningful results against the odds. In this way, staying disciplined despite lacking financial support becomes both a practical strategy for survival and a profound personal development tool, shaping a mindset of determination, independence, and ultimate readiness for recognition and accomplishment when opportunity finally arrives. The 10th keynote, secretly excelling in studies hidden from others, captures a powerful dynamic of quiet perseverance and strategic self-validation. When someone feels overlooked or unsupported, especially in comparison to a sibling who receives more attention or resources, success often must be achieved without external acknowledgement. This hidden excellence is not born from deceit but from necessity, a way to pursue personal goals while avoiding scrutiny, judgment, or the potential discouragement that can come from others' expectations. Excelling in secret requires self-motivation and internal accountability, as there is no immediate recognition to reinforce effort, only the intrinsic satisfaction of progress. Every assignment completed with care, every concept mastered, and every milestone achieved becomes a private victory, a confirmation of capability and dedication that exists independently of others' awareness. This process cultivates discipline, as the individual must structure study habits, manage time effectively, and push beyond comfort zones without external pressure or reinforcement. It also fosters resilience, because the path of hidden effort is often lonely, demanding patience and persistence in the absence of applause or visible validation. The secrecy of achievement enhances the emotional significance of eventual recognition, transforming moments of acknowledgement into profound personal triumphs. Working quietly allows focus to remain on mastery rather than performance for approval, creating depth in understanding and skill development that might be compromised by seeking constant validation. Over time, secret excellence builds confidence grounded in competence rather than external praise, reinforcing a sense of self-worth that is resilient to comparison or favoritism. The experience also sharpens strategic thinking, as the individual learns to balance visibility and privacy, revealing accomplishments at moments that maximize impact while maintaining personal integrity. Hidden achievement often develops creativity and problem-solving skills, as one must find ways to overcome obstacles independently and efficiently, without relying on outside support or guidance. It creates a sense of personal ownership over success, emphasizing effort, perseverance, and intelligence as the primary drivers of accomplishment. Additionally, excelling in secret fosters emotional control, teaching patience, humility, and the value of delayed gratification, because the payoff is not immediate recognition but the eventual demonstration of undeniable ability. In essence, the act of secretly excelling in studies transforms the struggle of being overlooked into a disciplined, focused, and self-directed journey, where success becomes both a private affirmation and a powerful tool for future recognition, turning years of quiet effort into a statement that cannot be ignored. The 11th keynote, encountering moments of isolation or humiliation, reflects the emotional toll that comes with feeling undervalued or overlooked in comparison to a sibling or peers. When support and recognition are unevenly distributed, experiences that might otherwise seem ordinary can take on a magnified emotional weight. Isolation often arises because the individual feels unseen, misunderstood, or disconnected from the support networks that others enjoy. This can occur in family settings, where attention and resources are concentrated elsewhere, or in social and academic environments, where peers may not fully grasp the effort required to overcome disadvantages. Feeling isolated is compounded by the perception that one's struggles are invisible, creating a sense that achievements or challenges are endured alone. Humiliation often accompanies these moments, not necessarily as a result of direct malice, but through subtle comparisons, overlooked contributions, or unmet expectations. Being underestimated or ignored can lead to embarrassment, especially when others assume success is guaranteed for a sibling, while the individual must work twice as hard to achieve similar outcomes. These experiences can trigger self-doubt, insecurity, and emotional stress, creating a psychological environment where resilience is tested daily. However, moments of isolation and humiliation also serve as catalysts for inner strength. They teach perseverance, the ability to focus under pressure, and the skill of cultivating internal validation rather than relying solely on external praise. Individuals learn to measure success through personal standards, internal satisfaction, and tangible results, rather than through constant approval from family or peers. These challenges encourage self-reliance, discipline, and the development of coping strategies to manage feelings of inadequacy or exclusion. At the same time, such experiences deepen emotional intelligence, fostering empathy, patience, and an understanding of the nuanced dynamics of attention, privilege, and recognition. Overcoming isolation and humiliation often becomes a quiet source of motivation, driving individuals to achieve goals that not only prove their competence, but also command acknowledgement that cannot be ignored. The adversity of these moments sharpens focus, strategic thinking, and the capacity to endure setbacks without losing sight of long-term objectives. Ultimately, encountering isolation and humiliation shapes character and fortitude, preparing the individual to navigate challenges with resilience and to transform previously discouraging experiences into stepping stones for personal triumph. The combination of emotional struggle, persistence, and ultimate success transforms these difficult moments into foundational lessons that underpin the eventual demonstration of capability, excellence, and deserved recognition. The 12th keynote, being underestimated by family and peers, represents a powerful and often underappreciated emotional experience that can profoundly shape personal drive and determination. When those closest to you, parents, siblings, or classmates, assume that your abilities or potential are limited, it creates a persistent feeling of invisibility and doubt that can weigh heavily on self-perception. Underestimation can take many forms, from subtle remarks suggesting that success is unlikely, to direct comparisons that favor a sibling, to a lack of attention or investment in your goals and achievements. The impact of being underestimated is both psychological and practical. Psychologically, it can trigger self-doubt, frustration, and a sense of injustice, as you recognize that your efforts and intelligence are not being fully acknowledged or believed in. Practically, it often translates into having to work harder than others to achieve similar outcomes, navigating challenges without the encouragement, guidance, or resources that those who are fully supported take for granted. While being underestimated can initially feel discouraging, it also creates a unique form of motivation. The knowledge that others doubt your capabilities fosters an internal drive to demonstrate that their assumptions are wrong, cultivating resilience, determination, and focus. Individuals learn to rely on self-validation, developing a strong sense of personal accountability and independence because external affirmation is limited or inconsistent. This experience often encourages meticulous planning, consistent effort, and a strategic approach to achieving goals, as every accomplishment becomes evidence to counteract the skepticism of others. Over time, the act of proving oneself against low expectations can build extraordinary confidence, as achievements are measured not only in comparison to others but also against the backdrop of doubt and underestimation. Being underestimated also teaches patience and emotional intelligence, as it requires navigating relationships carefully, managing feelings of frustration or resentment, and choosing the right moments to demonstrate capability without unnecessary conflict. The experience reinforces the idea that recognition and respect must often be earned through consistent effort, perseverance, and visible results, rather than assumed or freely given. Ultimately, being underestimated becomes a catalyst for growth, transforming a perceived disadvantage into a source of strength and motivation, driving individuals to achieve success in a way that is undeniable, compelling, and personally meaningful, turning skepticism into a fuel for extraordinary accomplishment. The 13th keynote, holding on to hope that effort will be recognized, reflects a delicate balance between patience, determination, and faith in oneself. When someone feels overlooked, unsupported, or underestimated, it can be easy to succumb to despair or disengagement, questioning whether their hard work will ever matter. Yet, holding on to hope requires maintaining a belief that persistence, discipline, and dedication are meaningful even when immediate acknowledgement is absent. This hope is not passive, it is active and deliberate, driving consistent effort in academics, personal growth, and skill development despite external neglect. It functions as an internal compass, guiding actions and decisions in the absence of external reinforcement. The process often involves envisioning a future moment when perseverance will yield tangible results, whether in the form of recognition, opportunity, or self-affirmation. This anticipation becomes a sustaining force, providing motivation to continue working through challenges, obstacles, or setbacks. Hope also encourages resilience, allowing the individual to maintain focus and discipline, even in environments where encouragement is scarce or favoritism is apparent. It nurtures patience, as achieving meaningful recognition often requires sustained effort over months or years, and teaches the value of delayed gratification. Maintaining hope in the face of adversity develops emotional strength, as it requires navigating feelings of doubt, envy, or discouragement while remaining committed to personal goals. This mindset fosters strategic thinking, as the individual plans steps and sets benchmarks that gradually build toward success, understanding that recognition is likely to follow consistent and measurable achievement. At the same time, hope shapes perspective, reminding the individual that effort is not meaningless and that their work has intrinsic value even if unnoticed by others. It transforms frustration into determination, turning perceived neglect into a challenge that can be met with calculated action rather than resentment. The act of holding on to hope also deepens self-awareness, as it encourages reflection on personal strengths, weaknesses, and the trajectory required to achieve desired outcomes. Over time, this persistent belief in the eventual recognition of effort strengthens confidence and resilience, allowing the individual to navigate a world that may initially seem indifferent or unfair. Hope becomes both a guiding principle and a sustaining force, ensuring that consistent work, dedication, and excellence eventually culminate in acknowledgement, validation, or accomplishment that aligns with the individual's true potential and ambitions, making each success a testament to perseverance and unyielding faith in oneself. The 14th keynote, using inner strength to overcome disadvantages, is a reflection of resilience, determination, and the capacity to transform obstacles into opportunities for growth. When external support is limited or uneven, and when circumstances seem stacked against you, relying on inner strength becomes essential for navigating challenges that might otherwise feel insurmountable. This inner strength is cultivated through self-belief, discipline, and the conscious decision to persevere despite setbacks or lack of recognition. It involves recognizing personal capabilities and limitations, understanding that progress depends on consistent effort and resourcefulness rather than external assistance. Individuals who draw upon inner strength often develop a heightened sense of self-reliance, learning to trust their judgment, make strategic decisions, and take initiative even in unfamiliar or difficult situations. Overcoming disadvantages requires resilience, which is both mental and emotional, as it entails managing feelings of frustration, disappointment, or envy while maintaining focus on long-term goals. Inner strength allows a person to transform obstacles into challenges that can be met with creativity, adaptability, and patience, rather than being paralyzing barriers. This process also sharpens problem-solving skills, as individuals must identify solutions independently, navigate limited resources, and find ways to achieve success through strategic planning and persistent effort. Emotional resilience is equally important, as it involves managing self-doubt, resisting the temptation to compare oneself negatively to others, and maintaining motivation in the face of repeated challenges. By relying on inner strength, individuals learn to define success on their own terms, measuring progress against personal benchmarks and intrinsic standards, rather than solely through external validation. This cultivated resilience often manifests in consistent habits, disciplined routines, and the ability to stay focused under pressure, creating a sense of control and agency in an otherwise unpredictable environment. Inner strength also nurtures patience and humility, as individuals learn that achievements are rarely instantaneous, and that persistent effort is necessary to overcome structural or circumstantial disadvantages. Over time, the consistent application of inner strength fosters confidence, independence, and a profound sense of accomplishment, as victories are earned through personal effort and determination rather than being handed or assumed. It reinforces the understanding that adversity is not merely a setback, but an opportunity to grow, adapt, and ultimately prove capability, making the eventual recognition of achievement both meaningful and deeply satisfying, as it reflects not just success, but the enduring power of perseverance and resilience in the face of disadvantage. The 15th keynote, Small Victories in School That Fuel Bigger Ambitions, represents the crucial role of incremental achievements in building confidence, motivation, and a sense of agency. When someone faces a lack of external support or recognition, each minor success, whether it's acing a difficult exam, completing a challenging project, or receiving a compliment from a teacher, becomes profoundly meaningful. These small victories serve as evidence that effort produces tangible results and that personal abilities are real and effective, even if unacknowledged by family or peers. They are essential for maintaining morale, as they provide reassurance that the hard work, discipline, and perseverance invested in studies are not in vain. Each accomplishment, no matter how modest, reinforces the belief that larger goals are attainable, and that consistent dedication can eventually overcome obstacles such as financial barriers, underestimation, or favoritism toward others. Small victories also cultivate a mindset of growth, where progress is measured step by step rather than solely by ultimate outcomes, helping to maintain motivation during periods when recognition is delayed or absent. They create momentum as repeated success builds skill, competence, and confidence, encouraging individuals to take on increasingly ambitious challenges. These moments are often private and internalized, but their impact is profound, shaping self-perception and reinforcing the idea that personal effort and resilience matter. They teach important lessons about patience, strategic planning, and the value of persistence, showing that excellence is rarely achieved in a single leap, but through the accumulation of consistent effort. Moreover, small victories help to regulate emotional responses, offering satisfaction and encouragement in the face of setbacks or inequity, and acting as a buffer against discouragement. They also foster self-reliance, as the individual learns to recognize and celebrate achievements independently, without relying on external validation. Over time, these minor triumphs compound into a sense of mastery, expanding confidence and reinforcing the capacity to tackle more significant and complex challenges. Each success, no matter how small, strengthens the foundation for larger ambitions, proving that perseverance, focus, and incremental progress are essential tools for eventual achievement. The accumulation of small victories not only validates personal effort but also ignites a sense of purpose, fueling the drive to reach higher goals and ultimately positioning the individual to achieve recognition, success, and the fulfillment of long-held aspirations that may have seemed distant or impossible at the outset. The 16th keynote, Cultivating a Quiet Sense of Superiority Through Merit, reflects the psychological and emotional transformation that occurs when someone consistently excels despite limited support or recognition. This sense of superiority is not born from arrogance or the desire to belittle others, but from an internal acknowledgement of one's own capabilities and accomplishments. When a person invests immense effort into studies, personal development, or overcoming obstacles without external validation, each success reinforces the belief that their abilities are real, earned, and dependable. This quiet confidence emerges gradually, shaped by years of persistence, discipline, and self-reliance, and is deeply tied to the understanding that achievements were accomplished despite challenges that others may not have faced. Cultivating merit-based superiority involves an ongoing process of self-assessment, where strengths are recognized, weaknesses are addressed, and growth is tracked through tangible results. Unlike superficial or externally imposed recognition, this form of confidence is grounded in reality. It is the product of long-term effort, skill development, and consistent demonstration of competence. It also provides a sense of stability and empowerment, as the individual realizes that their worth and potential are not contingent on favoritism, financial support, or immediate praise. Quiet superiority through merit fosters humility in parallel with confidence, because it does not require ostentation or comparison to others to validate itself. It is a personal acknowledgement of capability. It encourages independence, as reliance on self-validation becomes the primary measure of success, reducing vulnerability to disappointment from neglect or underestimation by others. This internal sense of strength also supports strategic thinking and decision-making, as it instills the belief that careful planning, dedication, and perseverance can overcome barriers and achieve goals. The quiet nature of this superiority allows individuals to remain focused on long-term objectives rather than seeking short-term approval, creating a mindset oriented toward sustained excellence rather than immediate gratification. It nurtures patience, resilience, and emotional control as the individual learns to navigate challenges with confidence, rooted in skill and preparation rather than external reinforcement. Over time, this cultivated sense of merit-based superiority shapes identity, influencing ambition, self-esteem, and interactions with others, while serving as a powerful motivator to continue striving for higher goals. It transforms past feelings of neglect or undervaluation into a driving force, where accomplishments are validated internally and excellence becomes both a shield against doubt and a foundation for future recognition. The process ultimately positions the individual to achieve success that is undeniable, deeply satisfying, and reflective of personal merit rather than circumstance. The 17th keynote, internalizing the desire to surprise and vindicate yourself, captures the subtle but powerful drive that emerges when someone has been overlooked, underestimated, or unfairly compared to others. This internalized desire is not about revenge in a malicious sense, but rather a deep, personal motivation to demonstrate one's true capabilities and prove that prior neglect or underestimation does not define your potential. It begins with a quiet, almost private acknowledgement that external validation has been lacking, coupled with the recognition that personal effort and excellence can serve as the ultimate response. This desire is internalized because it often develops in an environment where openly expressing ambition or seeking recognition feels risky, futile, or discouraged. By keeping these goals close, the individual cultivates focus, patience, and strategic timing, allowing accomplishments to grow in impact until the moment they are revealed. The process involves a mental layering of ambition, discipline, and emotional resilience, where every step taken toward mastery or achievement carries the dual purpose of personal growth and eventual vindication. This internalized drive encourages meticulous planning, persistence, and a commitment to excellence, as the individual understands that the weight of recognition will be far more meaningful if it is earned through sustained effort rather than immediate acknowledgement. The anticipation of surprising others also sharpens motivation, transforming frustration, resentment, or feelings of being overlooked into actionable energy. Each accomplishment achieved along the way, even if unnoticed at the time, reinforces self-confidence and the understanding that your abilities are valid and substantial. The desire to vindicate oneself internally creates a powerful form of accountability, where the individual measures success against personal standards and long-term goals rather than relying on external approval, allowing for consistency and focus even in the absence of encouragement. This internalization fosters emotional control, resilience, and patience, teaching that true recognition comes not from public display alone, but from the culmination of effort, skill, and timing. Over time, the quiet drive to surprise and vindicate oneself shapes identity, fueling ambition and strategic thinking, and reinforcing a sense of personal worth that is immune to neglect or bias. When the moment of acknowledgement finally arrives, whether through awards, recognition, or the realization of a long-term goal, the impact is profoundly validating because it is not simply an external reward, it is the fulfillment of a deeply held internal promise, the culmination of years of effort, perseverance, and the deliberate choice to let excellence speak for itself. The 18th keynote, facing the stress of scholarships, loans, or self-funding education, represents a multifaceted challenge that tests both practical skills and emotional resilience. When parental financial support is unavailable or limited, pursuing higher education requires navigating complex financial realities that most peers take for granted. Scholarships become critical lifelines, but earning them demands significant effort, including maintaining high academic performance, participating in extracurricular activities, and completing extensive applications. Each scholarship application is a test of perseverance, requiring attention to detail, strong writing skills, and the ability to present oneself compellingly to committees that often receive thousands of submissions. The competitive nature of scholarships can create pressure to outperform others consistently while managing the regular demands of coursework, exams, and personal responsibilities. Loans, whether student or private, introduce a different kind of stress, as they represent long-term obligations that must be carefully planned for and managed. The responsibility of borrowing money adds emotional weight, as every decision carries potential consequences for future financial stability, forcing the student to weigh the costs of educational choices against the potential benefits of achievement. Self-funding education through part-time or full-time work presents yet another layer of challenge, as balancing employment with academic responsibilities requires extraordinary discipline, time management, and stamina. The stress of juggling work and study can lead to fatigue, social sacrifice, and emotional strain, but it also cultivates resilience, independence, and a strong work ethic that few external supports could instill. Managing financial stress in this way also sharpens strategic thinking, as decisions about courses, schedules, and personal spending must be carefully prioritized to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently and that progress toward educational goals continues uninterrupted. Emotional resilience is critical in this context, as the student must navigate periods of uncertainty, worry, and even self-doubt without succumbing to discouragement. At the same time, facing these challenges strengthens problem-solving skills, as creative solutions are often necessary to overcome unforeseen obstacles or gaps in funding. Over time, successfully managing the stress of scholarships, loans, or self-funding education builds confidence, independence, and a profound sense of accomplishment, because each milestone achieved demonstrates the ability to overcome systemic and financial barriers. The experience not only fosters personal growth but also underscores the value of hard work, planning, and perseverance, creating a foundation for future achievements that are deeply deserved and hard-won. The 19th keynote, Sacrificing Social Life to Focus on Goals, reflects the profound choices and discipline required when pursuing ambitions without external support or easy resources. When someone is determined to succeed academically, financially, or personally, particularly in an environment where they are overlooked or underestimated, the demands of achieving long-term objectives often require prioritizing work over social interactions. Sacrificing social life is not simply about missing gatherings or declining invitations. It involves a consistent and conscious decision to allocate time, energy, and emotional focus toward goals that will yield meaningful results in the future. Every evening spent studying, completing assignments, or managing responsibilities that others may delegate or have supported can come at the expense of leisure, friendships, or spontaneous experiences. The emotional weight of this choice can be significant, as it may involve feelings of isolation, loneliness, or the perception of being left out while peers enjoy a carefree lifestyle. At the same time, these sacrifices cultivate resilience, self-discipline, and a sense of purpose, reinforcing the understanding that personal goals demand dedication and sometimes difficult trade-offs. Individuals learn to manage their time meticulously, creating structured routines that maximize productivity and ensure progress toward objectives while balancing essential personal needs. The choice to forego social activities also develops emotional intelligence, as it requires resisting peer pressure, managing feelings of envy or regret, and maintaining motivation even when immediate gratification is absent. Over time, the cumulative effect of these sacrifices builds skill, knowledge, and accomplishments that are not only tangible but deeply meaningful, because they are achieved through intentional effort and focused commitment. Sacrificing social life also strengthens self-reliance, teaching the value of internal validation, as the individual learns to measure success by personal standards and milestones rather than by social approval or external acknowledgement. While the absence of frequent social engagement can be challenging, it allows for deeper immersion in work, strategic planning, and skill development, accelerating progress in areas that will have lasting impact. These choices create a foundation for future opportunities, recognition, and success, as the efforts invested in personal growth and achievement compound over time. The experience instills patience, persistence, and the ability to endure temporary discomfort for long-term gain, reinforcing the understanding that meaningful accomplishments often require sacrifices and that focus, dedication, and hard work ultimately yield rewards that social leisure alone cannot provide. The 20th keynote, the bittersweet feeling of watching others advance easily, captures a complex mix of admiration, envy, frustration, and determination that often accompanies experiences of being overlooked or unsupported. Observing peers or siblings achieve success with apparent ease can be disheartening, especially when you have to work significantly harder to reach similar milestones. This feeling is bittersweet because it blends recognition of their accomplishments with the awareness of your own struggles, creating an emotional tension that is both motivating and painful. On one hand, there may be genuine pride or happiness for those advancing, acknowledging their talent or effort, yet on the other hand, a sense of unfairness emerges, highlighting the disparity in opportunities, resources, or attention. This emotional landscape can intensify self-reflection, as you compare not only outcomes but the effort, support, and circumstances that contributed to others' progress. The contrast can provoke frustration or even resentment, especially if the environment implicitly favors certain individuals or undervalues your own efforts. However, the bittersweet nature of the experience also has the potential to transform these emotions into motivation, channeling envy and frustration into disciplined effort, strategic planning, and consistent work toward your own goals. Watching others advance easily can serve as a mirror, revealing the standards required for success and clarifying the gap between current abilities and desired outcomes. It encourages problem-solving, resilience, and innovation, as you consider ways to overcome limitations and achieve comparable or greater results through dedication and resourcefulness. The experience also fosters emotional maturity, teaching patience, empathy, and the importance of focusing on personal growth rather than dwelling solely on perceived injustices. It reinforces the value of intrinsic motivation, as the drive to succeed becomes rooted in personal ambition and self-validation rather than external comparisons or approval. Over time, witnessing others' ease of advancement sharpens determination, as it underscores the significance of persistence, planning, and effort in achieving meaningful recognition. The emotional complexity of this experience ultimately prepares an individual to appreciate the depth of their own accomplishments when success is finally realized. The bittersweet feeling of observing others move ahead with ease becomes a catalyst for strategic action, self-improvement, and resilience, turning the awareness of disparity into a constructive force that fuels personal growth, excellence, and the eventual satisfaction of achieving recognition through one's own unwavering effort, making success both earned and profoundly meaningful. The 21st keynote, the pivotal moment when achievements cannot be ignored, represents a turning point in the emotional and personal journey of someone who has long felt overlooked or underestimated. This moment often arrives after years of sustained effort, perseverance, and disciplined work, during which accomplishments were quietly accumulated and personal growth steadily achieved, often without recognition or external validation. It is pivotal because it marks the point where the cumulative weight of hard work, talent, and dedication becomes undeniable, compelling others to acknowledge what has long been evident to the individual themselves. Prior to this moment, efforts may have been invisible or minimized, causing frustration, self-doubt, and a persistent internal struggle between patience and the desire for recognition. The pivotal moment changes that dynamic, as the evidence of competence and excellence becomes so clear and impactful that it can no longer be overlooked or dismissed. This recognition can take many forms: public acknowledgement, awards, leadership roles, or verbal praise from authority figures, mentors, or peers, each carrying the weight of validation that had been long deferred. The emotional impact is profound, as it validates not only skills and achievements, but also the resilience, self-discipline, and strategic thinking that were required to reach this point. Experiencing this moment often brings a mixture of relief, pride, and quiet vindication, because it confirms that consistent effort, self-reliance, and perseverance ultimately produce results that demand recognition. The pivotal nature of this experience lies in its permanence. It is not fleeting praise but an acknowledgement that transforms perception, both externally and internally. It also reinforces the importance of patience and long-term commitment, demonstrating that immediate validation is not necessary for meaningful success, and that excellence achieved despite challenges carries unique significance. This moment reshapes relationships, as those who may have doubted, underestimated, or ignored the individual are confronted with evidence of ability and achievement that cannot be dismissed. It also strengthens self-concept, creating confidence grounded in actual performance rather than in hypothetical potential or external opinion. The recognition serves as both culmination and catalyst, affirming past effort while motivating continued growth and ambition. The pivotal moment when achievements can no longer be ignored highlights the transformative power of persistence, internal drive, and disciplined action, turning years of unseen effort into visible, undeniable success that redefines the individual's position, identity, and future opportunities. The 22nd keynote, recognition by authority figures, represents a significant milestone in the journey of someone who has persevered despite being overlooked, underestimated, or lacking support. Authority figures, such as teachers, professors, mentors, or administrators, carry weight because their acknowledgement validates effort, skill, and achievement within a structured system where merit and accomplishment are measurable and meaningful. This type of recognition often goes beyond casual praise. It signals that the individual's work, talent, and dedication have reached a level that demands notice, establishing credibility and respect in a way that peers or family alone may not provide. Receiving such recognition is especially impactful when it comes after sustained effort in difficult circumstances, such as self-funding education, excelling quietly without parental support, or overcoming obstacles that others might not have faced. The acknowledgement from someone in a position of authority serves as confirmation that the individual's abilities are real, significant, and influential, creating a sense of validation that reinforces both confidence and self-worth. Emotionally, it can be transformative, turning feelings of frustration, self-doubt, or invisibility into pride, satisfaction, and the motivation to continue excelling. Recognition from authority figures also carries practical implications, as it can open doors to scholarships, leadership opportunities, internships, or future career prospects, providing tangible reinforcement of talent and diligence. The process often intensifies the individual's internal sense of accomplishment, because the acknowledgement is grounded in evidence-based assessment and professional judgment rather than subjective opinion or familial comparison. Experiencing recognition in this context encourages reflection on the journey taken to reach this point, highlighting the perseverance, resilience, and discipline that contributed to the achievement. It also strengthens determination, showing that consistent effort and merit can lead to tangible acknowledgement even when immediate support or attention was absent. Additionally, authority recognition reinforces the value of internal drive, as the individual understands that the combination of personal ambition and skill development ultimately produces outcomes that cannot be ignored by those qualified to judge performance. Over time, this acknowledgement from authority figures contributes to long-term confidence, positioning the individual to pursue higher goals with assurance in their abilities. It validates the choices made, the sacrifices endured, and the hidden efforts invested, transforming years of unseen work into a moment of acknowledgement that is both professionally and personally significant. Recognition by authority figures thus represents a turning point where perseverance and competence intersect, creating validation that resonates deeply, empowering continued growth, and solidifying the individual's standing within both academic and social contexts. The 23rd keynote, the public moment of validation, your name announced as valedictorian, embodies the culmination of years of perseverance, discipline, and quiet effort finally being recognized in the most visible and undeniable way. This moment is profoundly symbolic, representing not just the academic achievement itself, but the long journey of overcoming obstacles, neglect, and underestimation to reach a level of excellence that demands acknowledgement. Public validation carries a weight and permanence that private recognition cannot, because it occurs in front of peers, faculty, family, and often the broader community, creating a shared awareness of accomplishment that cannot be dismissed or minimized. The announcement of one's name as valedictorian transforms previously invisible labor into visible triumph, a recognition that encapsulates the countless hours of study, the sacrifices of social time, the emotional resilience developed, and the strategic planning that led to success. Emotionally, It evokes a complex blend of pride, relief, vindication, and sometimes even a quiet sense of poetic justice, as the individual who was once overlooked or underestimated now occupies a moment of honor reserved for the most accomplished. The public nature of this recognition amplifies its impact, as it signals to everyone present that merit, effort, and dedication have been rewarded at the highest level, and it highlights the contrast between earlier neglect or underappreciation and the undeniable result of sustained excellence. This moment also reinforces the value of intrinsic motivation and long-term perseverance, demonstrating that the culmination of consistent effort ultimately outweighs temporary oversight, favoritism, or lack of support. It offers validation not only of skills and knowledge but also of character, self-discipline, and resilience, showing that the individual's journey has prepared them for recognition in a way that cannot be replicated by shortcuts or external advantages. The public announcement also becomes a tangible reminder of personal triumph over systemic or circumstantial challenges, solidifying a sense of accomplishment that resonates long after the event itself. Additionally, it inspires confidence for future endeavors, as achieving the highest academic honor in a public setting confirms the individual's ability to compete, excel, and lead, even in environments where obstacles were initially daunting. The moment of being named valedictorian transforms years of quiet effort into an unforgettable acknowledgement, validating sacrifices, hidden achievements, and relentless determination, and serving as a defining point in the individual's story where excellence is celebrated openly, leaving no doubt about capability, merit, or the ultimate reward of sustained perseverance. The 24th keynote, the shock and awe of those who doubted or overlooked you, reflects the powerful emotional and psychological impact of finally being recognized after years of effort, perseverance, and being underestimated. When someone has spent much of their life quietly working, often without support or acknowledgement, there is an intense satisfaction in witnessing the reaction of others who previously questioned their abilities or minimized their potential. This reaction is a complex mix of surprise, disbelief, and admiration, as people who assumed the individual would fall short are confronted with undeniable evidence of talent, dedication, and achievement. The shock comes from the contrast between prior assumptions and the reality of accomplishment, revealing that external doubt and underestimation were misjudgments rather than reflections of true capability. Experiencing this moment can produce a profound sense of vindication, not rooted in malice or the desire to humiliate, but in the recognition that years of consistent effort and personal sacrifice have produced results that cannot be ignored or diminished. It validates every challenge faced along the way: the overlooked assignments, the extra hours of study, the self-funded education, and the moments of isolation or frustration, demonstrating that success is the outcome of perseverance rather than privilege or external support. The awe inspired in others also reinforces the individual's confidence and self-worth, showing that capability, intelligence, and resilience are tangible and observable, even if they had been invisible for a long time. It often changes dynamics in relationships, as peers, mentors, or even family members are forced to recalibrate their perceptions, acknowledging a level of competence and excellence that had previously been discounted. The emotional resonance of this recognition also contributes to long-term motivation, as it provides concrete proof that consistent effort and strategic self-reliance yield results with lasting impact. At the same time, this moment highlights the transformative power of quiet, disciplined work, showing that the most meaningful accomplishments are not always those immediately celebrated, but those achieved through perseverance and determination despite doubt or neglect. The shock and awe experienced by observers reinforces the idea that excellence and merit eventually command attention, creating a sense of satisfaction that is both personal and public. This moment serves as a powerful testament to the individual's journey, where earlier skepticism or underestimation is replaced by recognition, respect, and validation, cementing the triumph of diligence, resilience, and inner strength, and leaving an indelible mark on the perceptions of those who once overlooked the effort and potential that now shine undeniably. The 25th keynote, the lasting satisfaction and empowerment from finally being recognized, represents the culmination of years of perseverance, resilience, and self-driven achievement. After navigating obstacles such as lack of parental support, financial challenges, underestimation, and the constant effort to excel quietly, the recognition of one's accomplishments brings a profound and enduring sense of fulfillment. This satisfaction is multi-layered, encompassing not only pride in tangible achievements, but also an appreciation for the personal growth, discipline, and strategic thinking required to reach this point. Unlike temporary praise or fleeting acknowledgement, this lasting satisfaction is grounded in the knowledge that success was earned through consistent effort, sacrifice, and mastery, rather than luck, privilege, or external advantages. It validates every challenge faced along the way, the late nights of study, the juggling of work and academics, the quiet victories celebrated alone, and the resilience built through isolation or overlooked efforts. With this recognition comes empowerment, a feeling of agency and confidence that reinforces the individual's capacity to face future challenges with determination and self-assurance. The experience demonstrates that obstacles, setbacks, or underestimation do not define one's potential, and that sustained focus, perseverance, and internal drive can ultimately produce results that are undeniable and impactful. This empowerment also has a psychological dimension, transforming prior feelings of invisibility, frustration, or doubt into a deep-seated belief in personal competence and the ability to shape one's own trajectory. It encourages continued ambition, as the individual recognizes that their effort and dedication directly translate into achievement, reinforcing the value of hard work and strategic planning in all areas of life. The lasting satisfaction is further amplified by the contrast between earlier neglect or underappreciation and the current acknowledgement, creating a sense of justice, pride, and personal vindication that resonates long after the moment itself. It solidifies self-respect, confidence, and an internalized understanding that merit and perseverance are ultimately recognized, fostering a mindset of resilience and determination for future endeavors. Beyond personal validation, this feeling serves as a testament to others, illustrating the power of focus, discipline, and integrity in the face of challenges. Ultimately, the lasting satisfaction and empowerment derived from being fully recognized transforms prior struggles into defining strengths, leaving the individual with not only a tangible achievement, but also the enduring knowledge that dedication, perseverance, and self-belief are forces capable of producing both personal fulfillment and lasting impact. In conclusion, this journey from being overlooked and unsupported to standing in the spotlight as valedictorian is more than an academic triumph. It is a testament to resilience, perseverance, and the power of self-belief. Every challenge faced, every sacrifice made, and every quiet effort invested has shaped not only my achievements but also my character, proving that determination and hard work can turn even the deepest obstacles into stepping stones toward success. This story is a reminder that recognition may not come immediately, but it inevitably arrives for those who remain focused, disciplined, and committed to their goals. To everyone here today, I hope this journey inspires you to trust in your own potential, embrace challenges, and never underestimate the strength you carry within. Your effort matters, your dedication counts, and your moment to shine will come. Good luck to each and every one of you as you chase your dreams and carve your own paths to success. Thank you for allowing me to share my story, and thank you to everyone who has played a role in shaping my journey, whether through support, challenge, or inspiration. Your presence, guidance, and encouragement have made this achievement possible, and for that I am deeply grateful.